no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, refractive lens exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
It lives up to all that, and you walk away going, wow, you know what? That was pretty cool. And you know what? Wow, that was pretty cool. I can't remember the last time, and I'm going to guess maybe most of you cannot as well. Remember the last time you were excited? You said, I'm going to go home and watch 2 women's basketball games tonight. I can't wait. I'm going to go home. And there's a few of you, I know, but I'm going to guess the majority of you are like the majority of America that maybe even sampled for the first time. And I got a bunch of texts and messages and all kinds of correspondence last night. First time I've seen Caitlin Clark. First, that I watched the full game. And I think if you watched it, you were impressed, you were satisfied, you were entertained, and you were glad you did. Good morning to you, and Merry Tuesday. The Final Four for the ladies is now set as well. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck, DC's producing for us. Good morning to both of you. Both of you. How you living?
What it do?
You all right back there?
Doing well.
All right. Did you boys watch women's basketball last night?
I made it there.
Yep. We all did, right?
Yes, we did.
I got home. I forgot to do the last thing of my errands, and I saw the boxes at the back of my vehicle this morning, and I'm an idiot because I got home in time. What'd you think?
Exactly what I expected. I didn't need to be sold on anything. Of course, I watch a lot more women's basketball.
You've watched more women's basketball than anybody. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's been something that it's been very good to me. And when you see it at the highest level, the game's fun. And you have arguably one of the best players to ever take the floor in women's basketball, and Caitlin Clark doing her thing. A team that you look at in Iowa, and Caitlin said after the game, she's like, "Yeah, we lost some people, and no one thought we'd be back here." And guess what? They looked so good yesterday, led by Caitlin Clark, and it was just fun basketball from start to finish.
You watch it?
I did. Not the whole thing, but I went back and forth, and I was glad that it did live up to the hype. I think that's excellent for what they're doing. I think the women's game is doing great things right now. It's really good for sports, but it's also good for just the growth of people in general, just seeing something new.
That's good. Yeah. No, I like that. I like the way you put that. I'm not sure I even heard that said, just the growth of people in general. I think that's really good. I got so many takeaways from it. First and foremost, it was good. It was entertaining. It was elite athletes, and not just the 2 stars. It was 2 teams of athletes that lived up to the moment. The hype, the pressure that went with it. They knew that last night. And look, the UConn, I want to throw the UConn USC game in there as well, and we'll see what the numbers were. The numbers for the first game are going to be astronomical for 2 reasons. A, your star power was a little bit bigger, and B, it was a 7 o'clock start on the East Coast as opposed to a 9:15 start on the East Coast. So everybody was up and got to watch it. JJ, when the stars are able to rise to the moment and play the way they did, Caitlin Clark had 41 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. Has insanity of range, has no conscience as a shooter. She shot the ball 29 times, but dishes the ball, is a terrific passer. She turned the ball over 5 times. And there was a moment there where you're like, okay, this is going to get away. Angel Reese, 17 points, 20 rebounds, unstoppable on the boards. Morrow had 14 and 14 for LSU. In the offense, like, this is a different game than if you watched it back in the day. 94-87 was the final. 94-87. They scored, LSU did, 31 points. The losing team, 31 points in the first quarter. That was going to pan out to 112 points. and everything about it was entertaining. We're going to get into the post game and what it means, because I just think there's so much to it. But JJ, when elite athletes, you might be right, but this was a rematch of last year's title game with, I believe, and Juju Watkins will have something to say to this, say about this. Well, Caitlin Becker's South Carolina star. I believe the two biggest stars in that game. Last night was the night.
Last night was the night, and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have been pitted against each other. Fair or not fair in some situations is that's how people have described them and written about them. And a lot of it's kind of been, the good versus evil, America's sweetheart versus America's villain type of deal. And, these teams, though, they understood what was online. It was an Elite Eight matchup, but it was the biggest matchup of the tournament because of who the teams were, the way that they play the game, and the injuries surrounding it. And for all those players to step up in the moment, it's what you want. It's what you expect from any big-time sporting event that you tune into when you talk up certain players. This is what we look for in sport, is what do you do on the biggest stage? And that, they got the Final Four, potential national championship game coming up, but everything surrounding last night's game was bigger than it's even going to be for these teams next week.
I think that's probably right. And even though that stage is the Final Four and that's the biggest one, and I think we'll all sit around and we will watch it. A couple of things I was really impressed with. I watched one other full Caitlin Clark game. I've watched snippets here, jumped in here, stepped out here, highlights certainly. And the game I watched previously, I thought I think JJ was their last home game. So it would have been the round of 32, right? And I thought she forced things. I thought I walked away not nearly as impressed as I did yesterday, right? And there was a lot of talk about how she's a lot more relaxed away from the Iowa fans, right? Which is, we heard that around here, right? The players at the pit. Well, there's so much pressure. I walked away from that game going, wow. I mean, she complains a lot. She was not. I just didn't think she's really good. I just didn't think she was half of what I watched yesterday. As the full player, as someone who goes to the boards, who involves her teammates, because I didn't think her. Just again watching that game, I'm like, wow. I didn't think the rest of that team was good. And when I watched,
size was of one.
Yeah, and when I watched early in this game, I said, Daddy, my daughter was into it. I thought LSU was going to run them out of the building. I just thought they were way more athletic. Iowa couldn't get a rebound. Caitlin Clark involves everybody else and controlled that game, even though LSU was way bigger. LSU was way more athletic. Honestly, at the beginning, but they're going to stick around for a while, but LSU's going to pull away one by 12.
Caitlin Clark's that good.
She really is.
They never rebounded the basketball.
Yeah,
but
still
you have Caitlin Clark is the legit comparisons are Steph Curry, like James Harden. Elite range in the game. Score at any level. Will get her teammates involved. Set up easy baskets for her teammates. It's one of those things. You know a player's that good when you know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to cut to the basket. She's going to shoot threes, and you still can't stop.
And Kim Mulkey said after the game, Kim Mulkey's LSU's coach, said she's just a generational player. She says, we didn't stop her last year when we beat them. Nobody's been able to stop her, and we couldn't stop her. And it's interesting because I'm sitting on my couch, and boy, we're all good coaches on our couch. But
the best.
They've got or the only one's better than the ones in the stands. They've got Haley Van Lith out there chasing her around, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's really odd. With all the long defensive, all the long players they had the shortest point guard out there, and it didn't make sense to me. Then they at the end, you saw they switched Flau'jae Johnson onto her, and I'm like, why didn't they do that earlier? And I don't really know the answer. Did you think that at all? I mean, as we sit there and coach from our couches?
Oh, of course. Just do you box and one? Do you just double the entire time? Think of anything to do.
Instead of just run your shortest. And again, nothing against Van Lith. I'm sure she's a wonderful player. She's 5'8", or listed at 5'8". I don't know if she is 5'8" against a 6 foot Caitlin Clark, who's that good. I would have rather seen somebody else take a shot at and really frustrate her. And I was really surprised Kim Mulkey didn't do that.
It's hard to frustrate the leading scorer in college basketball.
No, it's history. The history thereof. The other game, UConn beat USC 80-73. And again, I don't know if you guys watched any of that, but the Stars came for that one too. Paige Beckers, 28 points, 10 rebounds. Juju Watkins at 29 and 10. Did Juju break the all-time freshman scoring mark?
Did.
She did. That's kind of a cool, but a bummer.
Yep, it was held by an Aztec.
Well, I remember Tina Hutchinson. And it's funny, I just looked up some Tina Hutchinson stuff. When I was at San Diego State, like literally learning how to do play-by-play, and I would do women's basketball games at Old Peterson Gym, and there was this woman who played there named Tina Hutchinson, who I just thought was, was being compared at the time to Cheryl Miller. Okay? But she was playing at San Diego State, but she averaged 29 points a game, 29.9 and 10 rebounds in her freshman year. In her freshman year, she averaged basically 29.9, 10 rebounds. And I remember her, so her 898 points were the Division I freshman record. And I remember how good she was, and the name kept coming up, and I'm like, dang, that literally cut my teeth, JJ, doing women's basketball, women's volleyball play-by-play. And all you see now is black and white pictures, like back in the olden days. But I remember that. But both games were good. All right, here's what we're doing for you today. And we're opening up the phones. I really want your thoughts. I know you watched it last night. My phone was blowing up yesterday with all these different thoughts. What did you think? And are you now going to watch the women's Final Four, where if maybe you weren't? I've seen a lot. You thought it was better than men's Final Four. I'll listen to you. It's not sacrilege to say that. Some of you will think that way, some will not. But I really want your thoughts as you watch it. Richard Pitino's due to be with us at 8 o'clock this morning. We'll talk Lobo men's basketball with the Lobo men's basketball coach, Richard Pitino. Quite a bit going on in his world over the last 2 weeks. So looking forward to catching up with him. Kenny Thomas will be in at 9 o'clock. We'll kick it with Kenny at 9 o'clock. When we come back, all right. When we come back, Caitlin Clark equals Tiger Woods. Now, before you tell me I'm a moron, and I might be, before you tell me it's the stupidest take I've ever had, and it might be, I want you to hear why I'm making that comparison. And then you tell me if I'm an absolute moron, which I might be. It's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Sound.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet.
Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's going on? Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
And that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres.
They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
I'm going out, Grandma.
When are you coming home?
I'll be home late. Don't wait up, okay?
Be careful, mijito.
Love you, Grandma.
Mijito, he's a good man. Sometimes he just makes bad decisions. I tell him, mijito, cuidado, be careful. You might hurt someone. He doesn't listen.
Stop, okay?
Hello, it's me.
Hi, mijo, where are you?
Dale was drinking and driving. I need you to come and get me, okay? Please, Grandma? Can you just come and get me? Grandma.
Leave him in jail.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420.
Lobo men's basketball coach. All right, I want to be clear when I say for a day, Caitlin Clark equals Tiger Woods. I'm not for a second saying Caitlin Clark is the player that Tiger Woods is the golfer, although she might be. I mean, you know, we're gonna have an argument who's the best ever and whatever. You can fine. I'm not saying she's the best basketball player, where many will say that Tiger Woods is the best golfer or the second best golfer ever. That's what I'm saying. Impact. I do believe when we see the numbers from last night's Iowa LSU game, that I think it's going to be the most watched women's basketball game ever. Okay, in the United States. Why'd you watch? Did you tune in for Angel Reese? Kind of. Did you tune in to see Caitlin Clark? Absolutely. It's kind of like the Masters in 2 weeks to me. Some of us will watch. Some of you were going to watch women's basketball anyway. Jeff, I don't care. I was going to watch. Okay. It's like I'm going to watch the Byron Nelson. It doesn't matter to me for golf. But how many more are going to watch if Tiger Woods is there?
You more?
Right? Quite a few more. How many of you watched the Genesis Open on Thursday and Friday in L.A. because Tiger was there and then he limped off the court? The ratings show it, right? Tiger impact. How many more people watch? And do you see you watch because of, I'm going to guess you watch because of Caitlin Clark?
Primarily, yes.
Would you have watched if it was Angel Reese versus North Carolina State? LSU and North Carolina State.
That would be less compelling.
Right?
Yes. Although I will say Kim Mulkey is a very interesting coach.
Is.
I like her style. She kind of reminds me of Belichick a little bit.
Well, and the rivalry thing is big, and I don't want to take it away from Angel Reese, but I don't know that Angel Reese herself, because Caitlin Clark is the leading scorer in the history of college basketball. And she's been getting so much pub, not just in sports, but I mean, you watch World News Tonight or you watch CBS Evening News or whatever, and they've been following Caitlin Clark. And so last night had an opportunity in prime time on a Monday night with nothing else going on to watch this phenom. So again, I'm not telling you she's the best ever like Tiger Woods, but I'll tell you, impact-wise and what she's doing for her game and exposure for her game and putting eyeballs on her game and growing her game, that impact is not dissimilar to Tiger Woods.
It's a crossover appeal. It's getting average sports fan X interested in your product. The person that's skimming around going, "Oh, there's nothing on TV tonight." Well, actually there is, and there's some pretty good college basketball on to give it a taste, to watch the game. And this isn't, by all means, the ultimate factor, but when you turn on social media last night and the majority of the conversation is about the game, how big it is, because it's that crossover appeal from your regular, hey, your basketball talking heads are talking about women's basketball.
Yeah. And I want to get into what Angel Reese said after the game, but just to kind of hammer home, this is Kim Mulkey. All right, and again, Kim Mulkey is the LSU coach. She's the coach whose team did not win the game. Talking about Caitlin Clark, her impact, and again, I'm not comparing the games, although you can if you want to. But you tell me if it's the most moronic take I've ever had. I think I've had dumber ones. But this is Kim Mulkey on Caitlin Clark and her impact.
Well, there's not a whole lot of strategy. You got to guard her. Nobody else seems to be able to guard her. We didn't even guard her last year when we beat them. She's just a generational player, and she just makes everybody around her better. That's what the great ones do. I think they had a kid that scored 21 and 18. She had 12 assists. Caitlin Clark's not going to beat you by herself. It's what she does to make those other teammates better that helps her score points and them score points to beat you. What did I say to her? I said, I sure am glad you leaving. I said, girl, you something else. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. Kate Martin had the 21 points and for Iowa. Who's been like her, right? I mean, it's been Cheryl Miller. It's been go through your UConn stars, whether it's Rebecca Lobo or Diana Taurasi. I mean, she's of that ilk. The numbers that she's put up are just different. And for whatever, this is actually really good. And I don't know that I know the answer. Maybe you do. JJ, why do you think Caitlin Clark is hitting differently for mainstream sports fan more so than Diana Taurasi ever did, or Rebecca Lobo, or any of the UConn stars that were, I can argue, equally as good, even though they put up the numbers?
I think that the women's game has evolved where I think the talent gap is still pretty big from top to bottom. But at the top, it's much more competitive. There was a time where, in just recent history, go back to 2016, UConn had won their fourth straight championship. That gets boring for people. And the way the game's talked about and presented, it's in the A block of your favorite shows on the 4-letter network in the morning. It's seeing that these players are doing things that you expect, stretching the game, being able to score in isolation basketball, being able to play team basketball. And I think with Caitlin Clark too, it's a bit of the timing, the perfect storm of the game has grown. People respect it more, the popularity, the visibility of it, and she's setting records that you can't ignore.
So I think you hit on a number of keys. ESPN's coverage of it has been key. And again, I anytime I talk about ESPN, full disclosure, I am a full-time employee at ESPN. They own the Isleta New Mexico Bowl, and I've worked for ESPN for 18 years. Okay, so full disclosure. That said, the emphasis, the commitment that they've made to women's sports and specifically to women's basketball obviously has made a growth. And ESPN, ABC, right, they're both Disney, so to be able to put some games on ABC, to give it the coverage, and as much as people want to bang on ESPN, I don't watch anymore. Yeah, a lot of people really do. I don't ever. Okay, and maybe you don't. but the commitment they've made, I think that is a big piece of it, right? They've made it easy to find, almost hard to get out of the way.
Well, if you're going to
and then
do
the
it,
product itself lived up to it.
do it right.
Yeah.
It's worth the investment. And you see it with the people that they have covering the games. It's not just someone that hasn't been around it all season. They drop it in.
Right.
Like they have people that call the games, they have people that talk about the games. They don't just try to throw a curveball going, well, this is a famous person, let's put him on there because we need to.
Yeah.
And it works. The studio coverage is really good energy, good breakdown. The play-by-play crews are fantastic. And that's what you need to do, is if you're going to do it right.
About I'm not sure Albany, New York feels that way. I don't know who the analyst was, the color commentator, but she said they were talking about Caitlin Clark and the family. And Caitlin told her family, leave me alone, go find something to do in Albany. I'm busy this week. And the analyst says, I mean, in their defense, I mean, what are you going to find to do in Albany? There's not much to do here. Like, come on, man, that's the host city that they probably just go to. Come on.
And I think with specifically in regards to March Madness for the women, is I know some people get up in arms about it. The fact that they did go to home sites, it's good.
Well,
because you get energy in the first 2 rounds. And is it fair? Well, if you have a bunch of neutral site games, no one's showing up. Look at some of the early round games for men's basketball, and it's worse for women's basketball. So they acknowledge it. They don't travel to as many sites as the men do. So they're trying to make it as fan friendly as possible.
Yeah, and there's a real conversation. Has the women's game outgrown the home sites now? Have they outgrown it? Maybe not yet. There's the other side. When we come back, Angel Reese spoke after the game. And to your point, you said, what was this? This was billed as what, villains versus sweethearts, right? Okay. Was that fair? Angel Reese was emotional after the game. She said some things that are very strong, very, very emotional, very personal. And the response to them has been insane. She talked about death threats, being sexualized. When we come back, you're going to hear what Angel Reese had to say and get into it. Did she bring it upon herself? And can you play both sides of the fence? I want you to hear what she said in defeat last night, because she's the other superstar in this game. While she's not Caitlin Clark, there was another superstar in that game last night. And after the game, she got emotional, and so did her teammates. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This message is brought.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
So I just want to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day, I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are, keep waking up every day, keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
All right. There's so much there. JJ, I'm going to tell you a number of things can be true at one time. And there's part of me, and some of you is like, whatever, man, you brought this upon yourself, and how can you be sexualized when you're out there posing in swimsuits and whatever. Okay. That doesn't mean she should get death threats. You don't have to like her. And JJ, I will argue that she's embraced the villain role, that she did bring some of the negativity upon herself. That's just some people in sports, right? That's who she is, right? With the ring gesture last year in the national championship game, and the don't talk to me, the face thing. She brought some of it upon herself. That's the image which she created and embraced. And then America took off and got disgusting with it in some places, and the internet's a horrible place. And if you read some of the comments on the X yesterday, you're like, holy smokes, she is human. She doesn't deserve death threats. You don't have to like her. But that was raw emotion yesterday that came out. And I I've heard, how can you do the stuff you do and then sit there and cry victim? And again, I'm going to tell you, both things can be true. And for a lot of people, it's going to be, just cry me a river, woman. You did this to you. We love villains. There's and to say she's the villain, right? I mean, is it fair to say she kind of embraced that role? The world against us. I mean, I hate labeling it that way, but okay, she embraced whatever her persona is, and as she said, unapologetically me. But I felt for her in that moment, sitting there yesterday, and then reading the comments of people just going, whatever, you did it to yourself. To me, two things can be true. Yeah, she brought it upon herself, and the good with the bad comes with everything. But man, there's a line that people cross.
There's no line.
There's no line?
There's no line in society anymore. There's not.
There should be.
People throwing that out the window, man. You turn on social media and it's not hiding. If you're saying that stuff online, you're saying it to who's ever around you. And it's just easy for people to put their stuff out there now. And this one too, you got to realize too, it's the emotion of the end of the season and coming off the loss and knowing it could be over. You're right, and you talk about it. If you're going to put yourself out there, the good and bad is coming. But not everyone, no one is equipped to take what happened. And I'm never, and call me soft or whatever, and I'm not one of the guys, I am never one that in sport, I look at the way someone plays, and I get personal about it. And I'm like, and I take shots at their character or anything along those lines. I don't think that's good. That's not how I enjoy sports. It's one thing if you talk about emotion and confidence and swagger, and you can like certain styles of play, but then people take that and make it, a direct comment on
it becomes personal.
Who that person is, how they live their life, all those things. Like Angel Reese is a supremely confident basketball player. She's done nothing different that we haven't seen other big time players do. And I think anytime you are put in a position where it's just not comments about your game, it's comments about your life and everything that comes down on it, it's easy to say, harder to do. And that the easiest thing to say is just ignore it. And the hardest thing is to ignore it when that's coming at you. But it's the life of any star athlete in this country, any high profile person, is you are going to get shredded, discussed, good, bad, ugly, everything is coming down at you, no matter who you are.
What do you make of the people who say she brought it upon herself and you can't, now that
brought what upon her?
Exactly. No, and that's where I was.
It's all right. She's vocal, did the ring thing. Look at me. And yet fans want to sit there and act like they can say anything they want to anybody on the internet. They can sit there and curse out players. They can sit there and curse out referees, and they expect every athlete to be an angel. It's dumb.
505-246-0610. I'd love your thoughts on this. So most of you heard Angel Reese's postgame. Maybe you saw it, and it was emotional, and her teammates came to her defense. And as I sat there and watched it, I mean, I did hear both sides already in my head, right?
I think she's easy to root against for a lot of people.
Well, sure.
I do. But I do think there's a difference in rooting against someone going, oh, you know, I'm Team Caitlin Clark, whatever it may be, versus kind of then what happens from that.
By the way, she's pretty damn good.
And you get to, oh, you know, it's, of course, Angel Reese is that person and that team and the underlying tones that come from that.
Look, to DC's point, the team, their brashness, right, comes from their coach, right? It starts with their coach, and it goes down. I mean, Angel, she opted to do the ring.
Yeah, you want that fire. You want those. I'm not saying it's to not root against someone that you're not going to, but it's the whole, I think there's limits. You might not like it, and that's fine. It's the whole, oh, how dare that person flip their bat after hitting a home run. There's certain styles, but it definitely, for some people, can go 0 to 100, where it's not
And
just, hey, I'm rooting against them. It's, we're going to take this to a whole nother spectrum.
Well, there's moments when you opt to be really bold that live forever.
And I think she did a good job, for the most part, of, to what you've talked about, is, all right, we're going to play a certain style. I'm going to be a certain way, and I'll take it. But we've even seen, if you want to look at like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, right, some of the best on the men's side, struggle with figuring out, okay, who am I supposed to be?
This is where I'm going with this, all right? So moments when you are bold. LeBron James will never live down, not 3, not 4, not 5. People still don't like him because of that. Right or wrong, I mean, I'm not going to tell you who you should like. Angel Reese is never going to, in some people's mind, live down what they see as a classless or taunting moment when she won that title.
She is being held to a different standard.
Of course she
and
is.
And it just dawned on me, it's as if people want her to act like a lady when she's playing ball.
That's right.
And we see Patrick Mahomes. He's done the ring thing before.
That's right.
No problem with that. I don't see an issue with that at all. I actually thought it was kind of cool.
A lot of people don't, and a lot of people do, right? It's to JJ's point, what team are you on? And I'm not going to lie. Nobody's saying it. I'll say it. This has come down. If you look at the X, the Twitter, I mean, the racial lines in this thing, we can't ignore that. I mean, nobody wants to say it. I'm not afraid to. Do you think I'm wrong to say that it's come down and race and just stereotypes have come down into play in this?
I have not seen what they're saying online, so I'm not going to sit here and say that would be shocking that that's happening, but I don't know what's being said online.
That's fair. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah.
I just think that's part of it. Now, is it the only part of it? It's not. It's not. But it's played into it. I'm there. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I felt for that young lady when she was on the stage, and if that makes me soft, that's fine. There was a part of me that was rooting for the Caitlin for Iowa, because her story compelled me, and I like her style. I do. I like the way she handled defeat last year. I thought I liked her style. Now, and I really asked myself the question. I said, why, dude? Why are you rooting for them over them? And I wasn't rooting hard. I mean, it was kind of just, I mean, as you watch the game, you pull a little bit internally. I thought LSU was going to beat them. I thought LSU was way better. I just did, athlete-wise.
Yeah, and in sport, as fans, we are always, as you said, we're going to lean a certain way.
Yeah.
And we're going to have things we don't like about teams, don't like about players, and that's fine. That's part of the process. It's part of the emotion of what draws us in. I do think that with anything, whether we're talking about Angel Reese and LSU or other big-time players, it's a lot of people, there are no lines when it comes to athletes, and that's more of what I'm addressing as opposed to fans rooting for or against someone. If you want to root against LSU, yeah, I get it. Tim Mulkey and Angel Reese.
I think that's the reason.
They're not the most like, hey, I want to get behind those people. If you don't have a team in the bracket at that point in time, you can see how you'd go, oh, okay, that style and the stomping and this and that. I get it.
It entertains me.
Yeah, but it's the lines that there are no lines when it comes to athletes, and social media. There's just not.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, as I read yesterday, well, she brought upon herself, now that she lost a game, now she feels this way. And now she's humble. Now there's humility because she got beat. Well, I mean, it'll kind of do it to you, won't it? It'll kind of do it.
You get humbled.
Yeah, the finality of it all. All right, when we come back, Richard Pitino is going to be with us at 8 o'clock, coming up in about 15 minutes. There was a no-hitter in baseball last night. Normally, that'd be a big deal, right? But it was upstaged by women's basketball. What world are we living in? Well, that's the world we're living in. A no-hitter by a dude who wouldn't have been in the rotation if it weren't for injuries. Who, what, and how? And JJ asked the question, is a no-hitter the wildest elite thing an average player can do? That's coming up next after I tell you about On the Spot Automotive Detailing, because I use them. They come out and detail my vehicle. What does that mean? They come to you where it's convenient. When it's convenient, it's the office or the house or wherever, and they detail your vehicle. And you're inside working, you go outside, and when they're done, it's perfect. Inside, outside, under the hood. It's like new car clean without getting a new car. So you can take part of your tax refund and call On the Spot Automotive Detailing, meet them, have them meet you. You don't meet them. They come out at your convenience and detail your vehicle. Awarded Best in the City because they make sure they leave your car looking, feeling, and smelling like new. They also have window tinting services that'll help you prep for the summer heat. So make the move today. Visit otsdetailing.com to schedule. It's otsdetailing.com.
This report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
So you live it, dude. That every sports headline, a guy throws a no-hitter and it's B block, page 2, whatever, because women's basketball. That's our world right now. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck and DC. Glad you're with us. 505-246-0610. His name is Ronel Blanco, and he pitches for the Houston Astros. He pitched a no-hitter. He threw a no-hitter. How about this? In a span of 7 days, this is his life. He welcomed his new daughter to the world. For the first time, and he's 28 years old, for the first time, he made the opening day roster. And then he threw a no-hitter. First in the major leagues this season. Astros beat the Blue Jays 10-0 yesterday. He struck out 7, walked 2. He by the way, he's 30, not 28. He didn't play in the big leagues till he was 28. He's 30 years old. In fact, he would not be in the rotation, boys, if Justin Verlander and Jose Urquidy weren't injured. Not a bad 7th starter, huh? We just threw our 7th starter out there and he no-hit. By the way, the
Blue Jays.
The damn Blue Jays, who are pretty good. This is a story, man. This is a big deal. No-hitters are a big deal. You asked the question. Are no-hitters the wildest elite thing an average player can do?
Yes. There's so much
Next
more.
to a hole-in-one, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out and hit a hole-in-one.
Well, yes.
Right?
But I think playing professional competition in a game where someone is actively trying to beat you. And there's just so much that goes into it. Like, you have to make sure everything is fielded. You don't have one dude just accidentally fall down in the outfield.
Or a bleeder that gets to
just
the
like
infield.
anything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that go into it. Your team has to help you out. But if we pull up the list, dudes have thrown into hitters. There's some you'll be like, what?
I told you, man.
nope.
I was at Kevin Gross no-hitter. I want to say in 92. We just went to a random Tuesday night game. I was in town and went and saw Kevin Gross throw a no-hitter. I think he was 3-5 at the time for the Dodgers. You ever been to a no-hitter? You ever been to one?
I have. That's one thing I've been chasing a long time.
I've been close. Like in San Diego, a number of times we took him into the 9th inning when I was in school there, but never got one. And literally, when I was living up in either Yakima or Tri-Cities, Washington, I was down in L.A. and got some tickets and took my brother and Kevin Gross. I think he was 3-5, dude. Watch a no-hitter.
I just think that's so awesome. I've gotten close. I did go to a one-hitter from Nolan Ryan. I chased a no-hitter with Zach Greinke. I must have seen him start 60 times, and he just never did it. But last year, it was interesting. My brother and I were in Seattle, and it was either the first or second weekend they were playing Colorado. So my brother and I, who have never seen a no-hitter, are sitting there. Our flight's like 2.5 hours away. We're at the stadium kind of trying to time it out. Well, we're in the 7th inning, and there's a no-hitter going on.
Oh, what do you do?
Exactly. What do you do? So we kind of slowly make our way to the back exit, and it goes on. And I believe it was the top of the 8th that they broke it. I just remember hearing the crack of the bat. We saw it was a hit. Okay, let's go to the train now.
Right.
But you can't leave the no-hitter. Like, you just can't do it.
Yeah. When we were at Fenway last year, got through 7, and it was a rookie pitcher. I can't remember who the Red Sox pitcher was. I'm looking at their roster now, and nothing jumps off the page to me. I don't know that he's even still there. But he was throwing a no-hitter. And Addie had been with her mom down to Philadelphia on that same trip, and she went to a Phillies and Mets game, and she got a ball at that game. She was beyond the Mets dugout, and one of the Mets threw a ball up to the Mets fans. They fought over it, and it dropped and dribbled down to her, and she got it. and I said to her, I remember we're sitting up in the where we're sitting, and I said, "Babe, guy's throwing a no-hitter through 7." I said, "I'm just telling you this. If you get a ball and we see a no-hitter on the same trip, we're not going home. We're going to Vegas." And lead-off single to start the 8th because I said something. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes you've been close, right? I saw one in the minors. I want to say I saw one at Ice Ups Park one year.
At any level, a no-hitter's awesome.
It was insane.
But it's
The
interesting
fact that Mike Byers and Homer Bailey thrown 2 no-hitters in the last 10 years. Like, what? Who?
Well, it's random, right? It is pretty random.
Oh, that June 9th game where Chris Heston hit the Mets for the Giants. They're like, what?
But then when you say Nolan Ryan threw 7, you realize, no, there is something special. I guess if you throw multiple. Anybody, to me, it is
Ubaldo
like
Jimenez did it.
Yeah, I mean, but you know dudes who made hole-in-ones who were horrible golfers, right?
Most of the dudes.
Dude, I watched the guy go 8-1-8 out of Twin Warriors. He shot 104 and had a hole-in-one, and the hole-in-one never got above his knee.
8-1-8.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he
no one cares
because he got the hole-in-one, and I don't. He got on number 15 to Twin, and he skidded the thing up and ran. And literally never got above his knee. Ran the whole way up, dropped. Then he got an 8 on the next hole.
I would have considered retiring after that.
Shot a 104, 105, whatever it was, but he
With
got the
an
ace,
ace.
dude. With an ace.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
My type of guy right there.
Right?
Triple digits.
And we went to the bar.
But you got a home-run.
Tabs on
and you
him.
chase that moment the rest of your life.
You got a no-hitter. See? Ronel Blanco. 7 strikeouts and 103 pitches. Walk 2. No-hitter for the Astros. Coming up next, Global basketball coach Richard Pitino due to be with us. Looking forward to catching up with him. Where are we now, roster-wise? What do you do moving forward as the portal is open? Get a after the season catch up with Coach Pitino next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Amp.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView. ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet? Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
All right, now's your chance to win the Taylor Swift trip. Cumulus Media is giving away 3 trips to see Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour this fall. It includes round-trip airfare, 2 nights hotel, and $500 spending cash, and 2 tickets to go see Tay-Tay. Now is your time to text. The keyword is SWIFT, SWIFT. Text it to 95819 now, SWIFT to 95819, and you've got a chance to win. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. We'll get back to your phone calls in a little bit. Final 4 is set, both on the men's and the women's side. It's been an act that the transfer portal's open, and it was a heck of a season for Lobo men's basketball as they end up cutting down the nets in Vegas, winning the conference tournament championship. And now it's moving on to next year and what happens next. And it's been, relatively quiet, he says, tongue-in-cheek, last couple of weeks. Richard Pitino is the head men's basketball coach at the University of New Mexico. He joins us this morning. Good morning, Richard. How you living?
Doing great. Appreciate you having me.
No, appreciate you spending some time. All right, I say tongue-in-cheek, relatively quiet couple of weeks. I mean, there is no off-season anymore, is there?
No, the hard part is it used to be the spring was quiet and the fall was really, really busy. Now it's changed so much. The transfer portal, I think everybody's going to argue, to open it the Monday right after Selection Sunday is such a bad look for our game because the NCAA tournament is really the pinnacle of, our sport. And to do that is just odd. So it happens very, very fast. And there's just, it used to be you take a little time off and you work out the guys, but you got to meet with your guys. You want to see who's staying, who's going, who you want to stay, who you don't want to go. So the calendar's been flipped, but it's adapt or die, right? So you got to figure it all out and see if you can put together a great roster. So far, both Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Sebastian leaving were not a surprise, and everybody else seems good, but you never know what could walk into your office any day.
Yeah, it's very similar to football coaches, right? The bowl season comes, and that's when the portal opens right in the middle of bowl season. It's like the postseason for college basketball as well. I want to let's hit right off the top. You had the conversation with Louisville, or 2 conversations, whatever it was, and it was in the media, and obviously Lobo, the fan base, is so passionate about this program, and when there's success, people are going to come want your players and your coach, and that's part of it. And it just how do you address it and just make Lobo fan understand, how the conversation happened? And I know it's in the past, but it was, just last week, and Lobo fans still buzzing about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as calculated and big of a deal as everybody thinks. I got a phone call whatever day it was. We spent 16 years there as a family. I was 3 years as assistant coach, went to 2 Elite Eights, went to a Final Four. But there are some complicated family dynamics that go into that job. It wasn't something that I sought out by any means, but it's just, this is the name of the game. I hope every year somebody calls me because that means we're having a great year, and it's just, you never know what the future holds. So any fan that says, oh, he doesn't want to be here, well, if I was offered a lifetime contract and turned that down, then I could agree with your point that I don't want to be here. But it was pretty on the surface stuff. I wasn't disappointed by any means that I didn't get the job. I'm extremely excited about where we're going and where we can continue to build off of this success. So really on the surface conversations, and really didn't feel one way or the other. It wasn't like I was eager to get out of here by any means. I've really enjoyed my time here.
He's Lobo men's basketball coach Richard Pitino with us on the Sports Animal.
Now, Richard, we've seen really this season with your team specifically, watching some of the post-game stuff last night with the LSU players. And as a coach, you've been there, done that throughout your career, certain things. But how do you discuss living life in the spotlight with college athletes, with everything that they consume these days?
Yeah, the social media piece is obviously the new world, and I think people have to decide how they want to live their life. By all means, I would encourage everybody to not do it, but I know that's probably not very realistic, and there are positives to it, especially with NIL and opportunities and doors that can be opened. But when you dive into that world, you have to understand you're going to open up yourself to a lot of scrutiny. Like, I'm on Twitter, but I only read to the right, not to the left. So I protect myself a little bit. I don't read the mentions and things like that, because I just know that's a world I don't want to live in. Unfortunately, young people do it, and they get real loud and boastful when things are going well. Well, they have to understand there's a price that comes with that. So it's really, really hard. I'm 100% convinced that, a lot of depression, anxiety, and stuff are certainly, magnified by living in that world. But we try to educate the best we can and tell them that as quickly as that criticism comes, it can go away fast, and vice versa, the praise and criticism as well. But it's what they grow up in, and it's really, really hard to get them off it.
Richard Pitino joining us here on the opening drive. Richard, with as much as everything has changed in college athletics, at the core of it, you as a head coach getting to work with student athletes, is that stayed the same? At least when you guys are on the basketball court, are you able to just talk with them one-on-one and away from basketball? Is the core of it still what you believe in?
I would say probably not. I mean, it's changed so substantially, and that's not me complaining. We all did. I think most coaches got into it because, especially in college, they wanted these guys in their formative years of their life, graduating and so on. But now you've got 1 year free agency every single year. And I think guys know they can come and go as they please. And some of that's good and some of that's bad. But you got to take the good with the bad. I think nobody's making me do this job. There's a lot of positives, and people tend to focus on the negatives, but it's changed substantially. I think since I took the New Mexico job, the last 3 years, I feel like it's a new landscape. By transfer portal and NIL hitting at the same time, it flipped the sport, upside down. But sure. As I've told people, I mean, I've had great success the last 3 years. I mean, year one was obviously a rebuild, but we won 48 games in the last 2 years. So I don't know if we figured it out by any means, but we're doing pretty well in it so far.
You got to the NCAA tournament, lost to a Clemson team that ended up going to the Elite Eight and pushing Alabama. They were real close to going to the Final Four. You talked about 1 year free agency. Jamal Mashburn and Sebastian Forsling are in the portal. And Lobo fans on edge with obviously some of the names, right? Whether it's JT or True or Donovan Dent, and there's a feeling maybe the longer it goes, the better off you are. The portal is open until May 1st. Is there any update on conversations and where you are with those guys, or is it they're on our team and we're planning on moving them forward with those guys?
Yeah, I mean everything's been great. I mean we had conversations that Monday after the NCAA tournament, and Sebastian and Jamal, it was a very mutual thing. I think by all parties, it wasn't emotional or angry. And, I think it was emotional because they've had great years here and they were moving on and they loved their time. All the other conversations were great. Everybody said they're all in, but, as a coach, we've got to be, it's no different than an AD having his short list. If he's worried a coach is leaving, that's what we've become, so I feel really good about all of them. There are a million moving parts. There's, coaches calling their AAU coaches claiming they could get this or that. I mean, it's really, really crazy, and there's not a lot of protection right now. But they've got great opportunities. So we just try to be as transparent with them as possible and communicate, really over-communicate during this time.
Hey, is there an evolution going back in college basketball? I'm talking about the game itself, and I know there's been a move away from the traditional center in a lot of respects. Then I look at the Final Four, and I look at DJ Burns and Zach Edey and Donovan Clingan, and I'm like, wow, 3 of the 4 of these Final Four teams have fives. They have big centers who are traditional fives. Is that an outlier, do you think, or is there a little bit more of a move to try to find that guy?
Well, it's hard because it works in college for sure, but I don't think DJ Burns, Zach Edey could potentially not even get drafted, which is mind-boggling to me. And even Clingan, may not be your prototypical NBA guy. So we're college coaches. We get paid to win college basketball games. You can absolutely win with big guys at the college game, but those guys have got to understand, the centers, that they've got to be able to guard middle ball screen. They've got to be able to shoot the ball, and they got to be able to block shots. Guys are not posting up anymore, so there's a inner struggle there. But at the end of the day, those guys can be very, very successful at the college ranks.
Richard Pitino, Lobo men's basketball coach, with us just for a few more minutes here on the Sports Animal.
No, Richard, we have too much time on the radio where we talk about things, and we try to find an answer for everything. And sometimes what I like to say is it's just sport. You guys can do as much as you can to prepare yourselves and your team, and you got to execute. And I think one of those stories is North Carolina State. They had to hit a buzzer beater to go to overtime against Virginia in the ACC tournament to ultimately get a chance to win that tournament, and now here they are. When you think about sport and the game that you coach, is it just, hey, we have to be prepared as much as possible, and then it comes down to execution? How do you wrap your head around some things that happen sometimes?
Well, Kevin Keatts is one of my good friends. I was on the staff with him at the University of Louisville, and so extremely happy for him. But there's a luck factor that goes into a lot of these things, and so grateful for him that a lot of people said he might have lost his job, and now look, he's in the Final Four. The tournament is not always an indicator of success. It really is not. But it's so captivating, and it just takes over sports for the couple of weeks that it is, and it changes lives and careers and so on. So I think as a coach, I look back at our season and say, we won 26 games. We cut down the nets in Vegas. That was an amazing season. Although Clemson was just bigger than us, tougher than us, and really, really good. But we've tasted great success. So hopefully everything now moving forward really motivates whoever's in this program to get back to that and see if we can advance. So you never really know in the NCAA tournament, but that's always why it is so fun to be a part of.
As you go out now and recruit and re-recruit, and you talk about success, and success makes people want to be there, atmosphere does. I think you've talked about in the past how Jamal and Jalen House were a reason for people to come play there. Both of them are now out of the program. How has it been received as you go into the portal? And I'm assuming you've already had conversations with student athletes to bring them here and play within the system and with this fan base moving forward with the success that you've now demonstrated at the University of New Mexico. Do you notice a difference in response from maybe a year ago to certainly 3 years ago?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think we were going the wrong way when I first got the job, and I think now we're certainly going the right way. I had always said those first 2 years was really about getting the train back on the tracks. But now when we do our Zoom presentations, there's just so much more content and recent success. Obviously, the fan base is always going to be a big sell. But we want to utilize the success that we're having to be able to pour those resources back into the program. We redid the weight room. We redid our locker room, players lounge. Keep elevating the resources. Everybody talks about the Mountain West is this great conference. Mountain West had 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. That is amazing. But I think it's so very, very important for all the presidents and all the ADs, like the support that I have from President Stokes and Eddie Nunez, to continue to invest in men's basketball, and you're going to get so much return on that investment. So success on the court, all conference players, They always love the style of play. You lead the conference in scoring. You lead the, your top 10 in tempo. Those things are very, very attractive. So it always helps the recent success. And I think the more our recent players talk about their experiences in a positive light, it only helps in recruiting.
I'm absolutely blanking right now on which coach said it about having to have like media members take a test on basketball if they want to cover it. So how happy are you that your son knows more about college basketball than Jeff Kramer?
I think that just shows you right there how you don't really need to know basketball to be able to pick those brackets. I mean, Jeff has lost back-to-back years to an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. I was walking through the airport yesterday with my son, and one of the people, some person came up to say, "Congratulations on your bracket," and I just started laughing. But yeah, we, of course, Jack was not, Jeff texted me, and I said Jack was not very gracious in victory. Luckily, Jeff was not there to see the way he reacted.
It's so good. Hey, lastly, before we go, you mentioned the conference, and what a great year it was. And you got a team to the Sweet 16, won 4 games in the NCAA tournament. And whether you were underseeded, we can have a conversation another day. How do you sustain it now? And we've talked about sustainability of a lot of things, whether it's NIL, and I think they're all intertwined. But how does this league now sustain the success that it had and build upon?
I think it's really, really important you got to get a level of consistency. So that means you got to keep the coaches. I mean, obviously some of the best coaches in the country, and a lot of these coaches have been named to potential other schools. You keep those coaches, you keep continuity. Then you got to keep the players that you want, right? And certainly there's a million factors that go into it. So I really believe, and I know football is so very important, especially to New Mexico, to really get that going, because it just helps the finances of everything. But in order for us to become the new Pac-12, which I think is very, very attainable, it's got to come all down to resources. And when you elevate those, people are not going to want to transfer. Coaches are not going to want to leave. They're going to we have the high major experience with our fan base. Absolutely not even close. We're traveling well, we're doing those things. So I just think you've got to take the success and you've got to pour everything that you can back into it within reason, and see if you can continue to strengthen your position in college athletics, because rich get richer. You know what I mean? It's just the way it works. And I know in our conference, football is really, really, I know everybody's trying to elevate it, and I think that will really help everybody moving forward.
Yeah, well, I think the message, you helping with that message, I think is going to help it be heard a little bit too, when it's not just coming from the football people. Hey, always appreciate the conversation. I know you got a lot going on. Thanks for making this work. Good to catch up with you, and we'll do it again soon.
All right, thank you, guys.
Be well. Richard Pitino, Little men's basketball coach. A ton in there. The last piece, his voice saying that, I want to get into that next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Camara here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Life been shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-2 294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone...
AM 610, the sports animal.
I'd appreciate Richard Pitino spending some time with us. I thought there was a lot in there, JJ, in regards to a couple of things that you've wanted to hear. I know you wanted to hear it. And I talked to Richard last week when we were texting with him. And his travel, the schedules just didn't work. He was willing to come on last Thursday or Friday, whatever the day was. And it just didn't work out. In regards to the Louisville job, and it's the opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. And I thought, he said, look, there's a lot of family history there. I spent a lot of time there. They called, I listened. It was surface conversations. I think he's pretty upfront about it. I've been appreciative of the way he's approached that job or any other job. And I appreciate his demeanor. He's never said, I don't want to be here. And he's never said, I want to be here for life. Right. I don't know that you want him here for life. He's here. He's doing a hell of a job here. And when you are a coach, or look, I'm just going to, who was I talking to somewhere? I think it was the security guard. I think it was downstairs. I was talking to Joe and Lindsay, the security guards. And they're like, man, if the other company came and offered me 3 times as much money, I'd go too. Yeah, because you're good at what you do. And I don't know what you thought about the way he responded to that. I'm good with it, man. I got no problem with it.
I will say this is, it's one of the things I get salty about and I have to take a step back. Yeah. And it's a reminder that, people get upset. And how could this happen? Why would you be talking to someone else? It's part of the game. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to coach here. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to be successful. It's every coach is always looking at their next opportunities. Like there's few jobs that are steady. Like we're talking about an SEC coach and Eric Musselman that could be lured away by USC, and so was making good money here. Yeah, but there's always another job, and it's a select few that aren't looking at another job, and it's just a part of the process.
Well, who aren't? Probably the guys who aren't doing well, right? Who don't have other jobs to look at. Well, honestly, yeah. It's like if an opportunity comes up, if someone calls you, listen, right? I'm not looking for a job, but if someone calls, I remember years ago, Addie was young. I know I told you about this. The COO at the Orange Bowl was open, and I got a call, and I listened. But I mean, I'm not moving to Miami because I'm raising a child in Albuquerque, right? And I'm a divorced dad, and but I listened. I was interested in the opportunity, and that doesn't mean I don't love it here and don't love what I do. But I think we're all listening. If you sell insurance or you sell cars or whatever, you work at Intel, whatever it is you're doing, if somebody calls and there's an opportunity, you listen. So the other thing, JJ, well, there were two other things that really jumped to me. The portal stuff in regards to the players on the roster. He said he's had conversations. They all said they're in. They're all moving forward. And so, there's a feeling, and the portal's open for a month now. It's open until May 1st. There's kind of a feeling like the longer this goes on, the better your chance. I think nobody's going to feel really good about it until May 1st and the portal closes. Yeah. But as far as Donovan Dent and JT Toppin and Drew Washington, and you've got decisions to be made, right, on Nelly coming back for another year, correct?
Yeah, at this point, you just take it as this is who's here, this is how we're going forward. With the understanding, and Richard Pitino talks about it all the time, that it could change on just like that. Someone could wake up, someone could get a phone call from someone, feel a certain way, and be gone regardless of if the portal is open or closed.
Yeah, and I think you want to get an idea because you want to know what you're recruiting in the portal, right? But that doesn't mean you can't recruit out of the portal. It just means you can't go into the portal. So the players who are in the portal will be recruited all the way through fall. Yeah. But that's when it closes to go in. The other thing, he talked about football. And it's such a touchy subject around here for whatever reason. But I think it's so important that the men's basketball coach mentions the success of football is important. And you remember Joe Henry, the former cross-country track and field coach who used to come on our show once in a while? Don't look at me like that.
Can you go to Louisville?
He went to Louisville. Yeah.
Darn Cardinals.
Yeah. Glenn Milligan.
I take all our coaches.
The golf coach went to Missouri, and Glenn's at Louisville. And he won national championships. But he used to come on here, and he would talk about it in DC. This was as successful a coach as there's ever been at the University of New Mexico. He won 2 national championships. The school has won 3, I believe, in the history of the school. Just an insanely good dude. Loved this community. But he used to talk how important it is for football to be successful because he understood what it did for the entire athletic department. Now, it's one thing, all right, whatever. The cross-country coach is saying that he wants more money. He wants to go buy new shorts. Okay, fine. When you got your men's basketball coach, and that program is the darling of the fan base. Is that fair? A global fan. The men's basketball is, but he's saying it is important for football to be successful. And basically, without saying, hey, get out and support football, he's explained to you why it's important. And he talked about the entire league, right? And if you look at the programs, the resources that Boise State football has brought in, don't you believe that somehow correlates to their rise in basketball over the last bunch of years? The resources that football at San Diego State have brought in 10 straight bowl games or whatever, and doesn't it correlate a little bit the money that's come in from football? I think it does.
Helps the athletic department.
Well, of course.
There's also a ridiculous amount of continuity in Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher.
Agree. And Leon Rice been there 14 years.
Yeah, and Leon Rice is
at Boise. Yeah, I get it.
Something that these schools actually should be shooting for, as you look at the amount of games that they're winning each year, getting in the NCAA tournament.
And it's going to be very hard to sustain coaches for 14 or 25 years.
I think football helps, but it's, to me, I don't necessarily see a direct correlation because you still have to land the right players. And that has nothing to do if your football team is good or not.
It's resources, though. It's
okay, but also back then it wasn't necessarily like when you look at what really got the Aztecs to the next level in those teams.
In basketball,
yeah,
it was a continuity of that coaching staff. No, certainly, and recruiting guys like Kawhi Leonard and developing, the Billy Whites and the Xavier Thameses. But, Xavier Thames is a recruit or transfer from Washington State. But, yeah, look, now they've got something rolling there where, A, they got San Diego. B, they've got this now nationally known program that made it to the national championship game. Like, that's going to be a hard train to stop now. Right? The dudes want to play there. Now you add on that the league was really good. Oh, by the way, the league got 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. And the exposure, and we're playing at Gonzaga, and we're playing at BYU, and Washington and Stanford are coming to play at our place. Yeah, dude, that's a hard train to stop. But it took 20 years. You and I were having a conversation about Tina Hutchinson today. People are going, who? Tina Hutchinson was had the record for women's basketball freshman scoring record in 1983. At San Diego State. It was just broken by Juju Watkins. But I remember when San Diego State was that. When they played in front of 400 people at Peterson Gym, moved to the sports arena, maybe there were 800. They were horrible, dude. Before Rocky Long went there, and he used to say they got the best talent and they were soft. It took a long time to build those programs up from absolute below mediocrity. And it's going to take a minute to get this back up to where it is, and you're doing it without, and I love Albuquerque. San Diego's a different spot now, right? As far as just if you ask your common kid, where do you want to go to, where do you want to be? I mean, San Diego or anywhere else, period.
Yeah, and that's why the NIL investment has changed the game for programs that have the ability to hand out nice NIL deals. And you're starting to see, the Aztec worry about that. But even with as much success as they've had and going to the Sweet 16 this past season, coming off a national championship appearance, but yet the media focus shifts to NIL.
Well, and they were really far behind. Really far behind. And there was a story I was looking at yesterday that they've got about $750,000 in their collective, which is still, it's not, they're behind New Mexico. They are. But they're trying to learn how to play the game. All right, 505-246-0610. I want you to respond to what you heard from Richard Pitino. You can get in at 246-0610 or email us, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Kenny Thomas is going to be here at 9 o'clock. We'll kick it with Kenny, get into some of the hoop stuff, big NBA stuff, and certainly the college stuff. When we come back, who's backing up Patrick Mahomes? He is a number 2 overall pick in a draft. That's what they just added to their quarterback room. We'll do that when we come back. International Protective Service is taking us look at security, and they're taking it to a whole new level, literally a new level. For 18 years, IPS has offered standing guards or 24-hour patrols to protect homes and businesses in Albuquerque. They recently launched their service in Santa Fe. Now, IPS Global Aviation is using a fleet of drones with high-definition cameras and analytics software to exceed your security expectations. So with drones, IPS can monitor your next event or they can track emergency response. They can follow criminal activity you can't see as well from the ground. And the drones include thermal imaging, so IPS can help with eyes in the sky during wildfire season. It's unmatched ability to watch from the air. On the ground, IPS continues to use highly trained armed officers to watch your home or business. They install cameras, monitor them around the clock. That deters criminal activity around your property. They even offer personal bodyguards if there's a threat to your safety. So if you have a safety issue, IPS has you covered. 505-897-2420 is the number. 505-897-2420 or online at ipsglobal.com. IPS, passionate about making Albuquerque and Santa Fe safer places to live and work.
For more than 50...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burkia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. works.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Email machine, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, and Drew Cole. Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and Drew Cole. How many years ago was the El Pinto Palace? Sad part is New Mexico is no closer to a new state-of-the-art facility now than it was back then. It's 10 years ago, easy, right?
Yes.
Easy.
I
think it's more than that because, I mean, yeah, the people who came, I mean, it's probably 14 years ago. The April Fool's joke where, I mean, they literally, DC brought in jars of salsa with the El Pinto Palace, like a rendition of what the new arena was going to look like. Jim Garcia, who was doing the PR for at the time for El Pinto, came in. And I think we had somebody from the city in on it, right? And talking about where the new arena is going to go and who the title spot. It was in. The only ones in on it were me and Frisch. And then the two guys. And JJ was like, I mean, bit, and you should see his face when we April Fools this. It was so wrong and so cruel. But
it's great.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was an awesome radio bit
with the jars of sauce all printed out. And the only bummer is he's right. 14 years later, we're still no closer. He's not wrong. Not wrong at all. All right. Caitlin Clark, according to Rod, and I so disagree with this. I hope she's enjoying her 15 minutes of fame, Jefferson, because we'll never hear about her again.
Make you feel good to say something like that? Like,
yeah, it does.
Like breaking news? Like that, right.
She's going to go to the WNBA, and what makes you, like, now?
Or maybe she'll play the Big Three for a year for $5 million.
How about that? So what would you do? So Ice Cube is offering her $5 million, which is way more than she'll make in the WNBA. And the Big Three is his 3-on-3 league, which is televised by who? I don't even know. Do you watch it?
It's been on CBS Sports before. I don't know if they have a new.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Landing spot.
I mean, what would you do? Would you go to? Do they run seasons run concurrent, or can she do both?
I might take $5 million for a year.
Wouldn't you? And then go into WNBA later? I think I would. This is from Dean. It says, Coach, good morning. Looking forward to hearing Coach Pitino. Hopefully, by the way, Richard Pitino was with us at 8 o'clock. If you missed it, you can listen to it wherever you get your podcast. It's over on our website, sportsanimalabq.com. Click on the opening drive, and you can listen to it. Actually, I thought he was really good, and he usually is. Dean says, hopefully get a clear picture of who's staying and how many openings are available. Also, the heck of a player up in Colorado Springs, Petritis, I think could be some help. What do you think of Ritas Petritis, the Air Force transfer?
I think that probably getting a lot of people calling him.
Yeah, he can shoot. He's long.
Last?
He's proven he can shoot in the pit.
I'm blanking.
Yeah. Is that jacked up?
Because Air Force last year, their best player transferred to Clemson, but he did not play this year.
You looked at me like is that too soon?
Might have been, but it was well played.
I mean, he pretty much proved he can shoot in the pit, didn't he?
He did. You know, I'm looking at this. The highest paid WNBA player makes $234,000.
That's my point, dude.
That's taking that $5 million's 20 seasons worth of pay,
right? Why wouldn't you go play a year and whatever? So is your stock going to drop if you're playing against dudes and you don't play well? Is it going to drop? No. And if you play well against them, it's just going to rise. And you can go play in the WNBA whenever you want.
Even if she goes and plays in the Big Three, she's going to be the first pick.
That's right.
And that team will sit on it for a year.
On her rights.
And then be like, welcome to the WNBA, Caitlin. Glad to have you.
I just, why would you not?
You don't want to be used. You're trying to build up the women's game.
Whatever, man. If you take the women's game into a men's game, you got to use a men's ball. Like, she's not going to be, she'll be playing against dudes and use a different basketball and whatever. But I don't know.
$5 million changes the game for everyone.
Use me for $5 million and I'll show you that a woman can play in the men's game and not be embarrassed.
Oh, it's half court then.
Yeah, it's half court 3-on-3. It's set basketball. She's not running up and down the floor.
And what could it do? Maybe it opens the door for Juju Watkins to get $7 million from the big three. Who knows?
Right? I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm going to your point now. She's making, I have no idea. Like Addie asked yesterday, Dad, she's in every commercial. Like, how much money is she making in NIL? Like, I mean, Book, right? She's in AT&T. And what, I mean, how many commercials was she in during that? I mean, every one. She was in every break. She was in at least 2, right?
She has a ton of exposure. There's no doubt about that.
Why would you not? I mean, honestly, why would you not go and take the $5 million? And oh, you're going? Yeah, I'm going for the money. Yeah, 100%. I'm going for the money and to expose that a woman can play. But yeah, they're going to pay me $5 million. They're going to pay me what would you just tell me? $250?
$234,000.
All right, so $250. I'm the top paid player. Or $5 million, and then I can go back and do that. Explain to me why I wouldn't. Because they're using me? Who's using who? They're giving me $5 million to use me. They're using me to put eyes on the 3-on-3 thing? Fine.
But that time might be better spent with the WNBA. If you're trying to build up that game, you can find $5 million laying around in these deals. She probably has it already.
So is 1 year lapse going to hurt that?
There's a lot of momentum right now.
There is.
And if she becomes a sideshow of sorts, that could be taking steps back in a critical time for them.
So here's the thing. Caitlin Clark's not changing in the WNBA. That product has a lot of work to do itself because that is viewed lower than college basketball.
It's got less viewership.
Yeah.
It's not viewed as a lower league. It's got less viewership.
People care less about WNBA basketball.
Yes, correct.
The league is small. Anytime they try to talk themselves up, they immediately get shot down by everyone. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve that. The NBA is the only reason you're around.
Yeah, and the NBA
So I can get where DC's coming from is try to ride that momentum with Caitlin Clark going in, but the league itself has a lot of work to do to try to establish its brand in space.
I agree with all that. And you're offering me $5 million to go do that, or $250 to go do that, and the $250 will be.
So here's the
next
thing:
year?
why it's not crazy? Because a lot of these star players had to play overseas, just to have some consistency outside of the WNBA.
All right, I know you're ringing the phones, and I know I'm super late for this break, so I got to take this break. When we come back, we'll hit you on the phones at 505-246-0610. Kenny Thomas at 9 o'clock on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Channel.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
If you're drunk, blasted,
Intoxicated.
rip, plastered, paint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State
FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
Strauss says she's not going to the going to the 3-on-3. He said she would not go if she's going to make more money in endorsements and get more exposure in the WNBA. That's where the money is. You guys didn't even know where the 3-on-3 tournament was televised. It's always about the money. Follow the money. The 3-on-3 tournament's like the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm not telling you that's not totally right. Do you think she's not going to get endorsements if she goes to the 3-on-3? What's his Big Three?
Big Three.
Yeah. She's still going to get the endorsements, and she's still going to go to the WNBA the next year. Oh, by the way, she's going to get $5 million. And yeah, she'll make money in endorsements. I think she's at a point where she's ready to walk away from $5 million. I'm going to guess not.
I wonder how many endorsements continue with her.
Why not?
You seen WNBA players doing a lot of
WNBA?
State Farm commercials?
I don't see any WNBA players doing State Farm. Who's the highest profile WNBA? Look, Las Vegas just won, but she's different now. She is different. Jeffrey, thanks for holding. Good morning. You're on the Sports Animal.
Hey, good morning. Why are people hating on her?
I don't think anybody is. I don't think anybody is on her.
It's whoever said that enjoyed her 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sorry.
If this is her 15 minutes of fame, let me tell you what, she is cashing in on 15 minutes more so than anybody I know of. I was watching some yesterday. They said she should take the Ice Cube deal and ask for $7.5 million, do it for 3 years, and make sure she gets a stake in ownership. make all that money, help build that up, then go to the WNBA. Oh, she could probably go right into announcing if she wanted to, making more than she would as a player, as far as a base salary. But look, we need these rivalries. We need Reese's. We need Clark's in women's sports, because that's what's going to build it up, right? You've got to have a compelling storyline, and unfortunately, I think you're right, Jeff. I think race does play a factor into the whole thing with Reese. And it takes away a little bit from the fact that she's also a phenomenal player, and people lose sight of that because they get involved in the soap opera of the game. So I hope both of them go on to have just like stellar, super profitable, make millions upon millions of dollars, and build their sport up to where it gets lots of eyes and lots of endorsements, and bring some equity onto the playing court, if you will. Also, good interview with Patino. Glad to hear that so far it seems like the core of the team is coming back, and it's got to be stressful, right? Like right now, this is a time when we're still in March Madness, but the portal's open and you're still trying to get players here. And like he said, it used to be the fall that was the maddening time, and now it's the spring and the fall. And so I think they got to change some of that somehow. I think the portal should probably have to wait till after the tournament's open.
This week, the week after the Final Four is determined, you can open it up this week. Right?
Okay.
If you need to open it up early enough where they've got options, but I agree with him. It shouldn't be open up during the tournament. You got the NIT going on. You got all it's like bowl season, man. Portal opens up right as soon as bowl season starts, and that's why everybody opts out and transfers.
Yep. Well, all right. You guys got the break. Have a good morning.
See you. Who was I thinking? Oh, yeah. Dude, Angel Reese's game is really good, too. Yes. I really enjoy her game. The rivalry that they've got is terrific. Somebody said if it carries on to the NBA, you're going to have to watch it. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese in the NBA. I don't know, WNBA. I don't know if I agree with that as much. And that's to your point that people care so much more about the college game than they do about the women's professional game. Kicking it with Kenny next. Kenny Thomas, former NBA player, 11 years in the NBA, Lobo great. Going to be with us. We'll talk some hoops with him next. On the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, refractive lens exchange. the latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and
data rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. Again, text this national keyword to 95819 now.
Karma, K-A-R-M-A. Karma. K240BL Albuquerque is 95.9 FM, AM 610 KNML Albuquerque. The sports animal. Proud to be a Cumulus media station.
Even if they're not that proud of us. This is Kickin' It with Kenny Thomas. Brought to you by Capital Ford on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports animal.
Tons of hoop talk. Richard Pitino was with us earlier today. If you missed that, you can find it wherever you find podcasts. Just search the opening drive or just go to our website, sportsanimalabq.com. Click on the opening drive, and you can hear it. Good. I've had a really good conversation with Richard Pitino. He addressed the transfer portal. He addressed the conversations that he had with Louisville. He addressed a lot of things, including sustainability in the Mountain West. So that's all available for you, and it's a pretty good listen. It's the opening drive. Jeff Sibieta, JJ Buck. We'll catch up with Kenny here in a minute. Hey, Ryan just hit me on this. So we've been talking about Caitlin Clark. What should she do? Should she go to the WNBA, which she said she's declaring for? Ice Cube's offered her $5 million to go play in the Big Three. The last caller just suggested 3 years, $7.5 million a year, and an ownership stake in the Big Three. Commit to that. So that's $22.5 million plus ownership. Ryan said, what about ask for an exemption and do both? It's worth a shot. The Big Three is only on Saturday and Sundays. And in this case, it's good for both. Gets the Big Three more pub when she plays the other way. And the WNBA has no real leverage. There's not much in the way of legacy, no pay value. What if she did both? I mean, it would be an interesting back and forth. Why not do, all right, you guys, I can't play Saturday and Sunday. All right, that's a problem. But she's got all the leverage.
All they can do is say no.
I mean, she's all the leverage. If she goes in the WNBA now, is she the biggest star in the league?
Right.
Who's the biggest name in the WNBA? Brittany Griner? Diana Taurasi?
Well, Brittany Griner not for basketball reasons.
Okay.
Like the best players are Roster, Asia Wilson.
Okay. Who's the biggest? So is she the biggest star in the? If she goes into the WNBA now, is she the biggest star? Right, like boom. So if you're the biggest star, do you get to do whatever you want?
Yes.
If you've got an opportunity that nobody else has.
Yeah, all these conversations are worth having for Caitlin Clark. The WNBA desperately wants her in the league to build off of what she did in her collegiate career. And for Caitlin Clark, it is worth discussing what makes sense in the moment. Hey, is $5 million something that could set me up for the future, knowing that the WNBA is still there with the future, endorsement deals, the deals she's currently doing. These are all things that she can do because she backs it up on the court.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you're the WNBA right now, hey, I don't know if you're concerned about it. Okay? And Ryan says, like Sabrina Ionescu is the biggest name right now.
Because she was the one that was in the 3-point.
Yeah.
Shootout with Steph Curry.
All right, Kenny's going through security at the airport right now. he couldn't get there earlier. He's going through security now. If I'm the WNBA, am I trying to line up potential endorsements for her that would exceed what she would get and have them exclusively tied to the WNBA? That would exceed what she would get going to the Big Three to make sure she comes to my league? Am I helping? And I know the league should not have any part in playing it in endorsements for a player. But in this case, I realized, dude, her coming to my league is going to really amplify the eyeballs on my league, the visibility of my league, the viability of my league, the profitability of my league. Am I talking to Fritos or Doritos or CarMax or whoever and saying, hey, trying to tie something exclusively to the WNBA to get her in here, and that money that would exceed what she would make going to the Big Three? Because I am.
Yes, but then I'm doing that for the rest of my league.
See that, and that's where you run into
because you're trying to find
right?
some sustainability.
But the rest of my league doesn't have the
platform.
option to go play in the Big Three.
Okay. But you're going to do that for then Juju Watkins?
Maybe.
You're going to do that for Angel Reese?
I mean, who else? Okay, first of all, is Angel Reese or Juju Watkins going to have the impact on my league that Caitlin Clark is? And I don't know the answer. Angel Reese is not.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah, Angel Reese is not. Do we agree with that? Angel Reese is a really good player, polarizing, attractive, all the things that you want an athlete to be, right? Male or female. She's everything, right? Caitlin Clark feels to me different.
I see where you're coming with that. So for me, I start this and I look at the Big Three versus WNBA.
Yeah.
And I don't see those as equals. I think WNBA has more prestige.
Now, let me ask you this, and I want you to continue all your points. Do you watch either? Have you watched a WNBA game or a Big Three, whatever? Have you watched either?
I have never watched a Big Three game.
Have you ever watched a WNBA game?
I have.
Okay.
Not a lot, but so I've been kind of studying the history of the WNBA this morning. So in just a couple months, it'll be 27 years old. Okay. So essentially a generation, right? So we're kind of coming into the second generation of the WNBA, and having some stars lead that is going to be huge. It's going to be one of those things that you can go from 12 teams to who knows how many, but I don't think you have that same impact in the Big Three. The Big Three is a sideshow. You know, it's kind of a fun thing for players that didn't go to the NBA, but
it is a sideshow. No, it is. It's different, right? Now, three-man basketball, 3-on-3 is an Olympic sport now. I wonder if it gets a push watching Jimmer play in the Olympics this summer. I don't know. I have no idea. I agree with you. It's a sideshow. There's plenty of people who would argue that the WNBA is a sideshow, which it's not. But it will women's professional sports. So this is kind of another layer of this conversation. The acceleration of the women's game in college sports, and JJ, we're going to go back to the reason, right? The ESPN coverage of softball, of women's basketball, gymnastics now. I mean, women's sports in college are all over. Now, WNBA does have a television contract with ESPN, and they do push it. It doesn't feel like and I would even argue the WNBA is in a lesser trafficked time, right? I mean, it's going up against baseball and golf. Will women's sports, there's the NWSL in those markets. I think the women's soccer league, I guess, is pretty popular, right? In San Diego and Orlando and places that they've got teams. Will women's collegiate sports be more popular in this country than women's professional sports?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes. For the long run, you're saying?
Yeah.
See, I don't. I
You
disagree
don't.
with that. I think women's sports across the board is about to experience a major boom.
And you at the professional level.
At the professional level. Yep. Because now minds are open. No one's, oh, girls are playing. That's done. That's 25 years old.
That's correct.
So we're at a point where we've accepted that these women are exceptional athletes and worth watching. So now that the social perception is changing, then we can accept this differently. And I think that's one of the things we're going to notice is that people are in.
Even though I disagree with you, I'll give you something to support your argument. What's more popular, women's tennis or men's tennis? Women, because of the Williams sisters, and it's certainly Serena, right?
For American tennis, yeah.
For American tennis,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the NBA didn't have a great start.
No, dude. I mean, you think of the '70s, the NBA, and it was lackluster until Bird and Magic got there.
It's a second generation.
Well, third, really, but yeah. I mean, yes. You know, you had that era of the Bill Russell Celtics, right? Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, the first generation. And they were able to build quite a bit off that.
Yeah, and then you had the 80s and 90s.
So they got their stars in.
Yeah.
Off of college, going to Final Four, playing competitive games.
So you think
that's why it's so huge for the WNBA to get kicked?
Absolutely, 100%.
And that goes back to my original point on this conversation, where if I'm the WNBA, I don't have to do it for everybody. But
well,
when there's
I think you need to.
Well,
if you want to start building the game,
okay, and then maybe I do develop it. Then I develop a group of people.
You know what?
To help him, my athletes' endorsements.
But here's the thing with the WNBA.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. Right now, it's a 12-team league.
Mm-hmm.
They have to find a way to get a little bit bigger because
yes.
There's a lot. Caitlin Clark is, and she's going to go in. She's going to be fine. There's a lot of first-round picks that don't even make the team the first year because of league size. And so that's kind of their challenge of if you're trying to build stars, build the game, that you're so limited.
Yeah, but how much money do you want to lose? Because every report I see is the league loses money. It's being subsidized by the NBA, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, does it have to be sustainable, or is it a college sports model where the university is supporting it, where the NBA is supporting it? And what's your mission then? Is it just to expose women's sports and give because then we get into this whole pay equity thing. Well, to your point, their highest paid
they're never going to get there,
right? But you got your lowest paid player guy in the NBA is making what, $5 million, and their highest is making why? Well, why? Because one's profitable and one's losing money.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you think the WNBA would go over in Albuquerque if they had a team?
We had this conversation a million times, and I think it would go over fairly well.
Only we had the El Pinto Palace.
If you had the El Pinto Palace to play. No, we've had this conversation. I look. We've talked about at the top level, the major league level, whether it's MLS, Major League Baseball. The thing that I think that this market is most ready for is probably WNBA.
And it is an ideal market for WNBA,
sure,
based on size. And
look what it's doing in Vegas right now. They win with Connecticut, right? No, I think it would be really good here.
It's fascinating to watch, though.
And here's the deal. Also, why this market is dying to have something on that top shelf level. Now, you would tell me WNBA is not. Yeah, it is. That'd be the top shelf of that sport, right? MLS. I think MLS is a pipe dream here just because of the expansion fee.
It's insane.
It's like $300 million, right? If people go, the United's going to go up. I remember the first year United was here. They had that run in the Open Cup and got to the quarterfinals. And they're so great and they're going to be an MLS. No, they're not going to be an MLS team. Because the entrance fee, I think, was what, $2.5 million, $5 million, whatever it was.
Being an MLS team has nothing to do with attendance and performance. It's how much capital do you have to pay the buy-in.
And what last time we had this conversation was 2 years ago. It was like $300 million, right?
It's almost like $500 million.
Yeah, it's bonkers. No, to your point, I absolutely believe that the WNBA would be good here. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610 if for whatever reason you pay a toll. Emails jeff@sportsanimалabq.com, jj@sportsanimалabq.com. What would you do? You're Caitlin Clark. You got an option. You can go play the big three in Ice Cube's league that I don't know who watches, but you can go make $5 million. I think people would start. Well, you'd watch for a weekend. That's the thing. You'd watch once and you're like, yeah, whatever. All right. I forgot. Oh, the golf tournament's on. Oh, I was at the lake. Or would you go play in the WNBA? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Hour.
Shot up good. The madness is here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hey, look, it's Dwight Goodman. Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
your chance to win that trip to go see Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. That tour's like 3 years long, right?
An era.
Be a whole nother era, like the era. You know what I'm saying? Hey, San Diego got an MLS franchise. Do you know what their reported franchise fee? This was 1 year ago, May. So basically 10 and a half months ago. They paid, do you know what their franchise fee was? JJ knows. They're going to play in Snapdragon Stadium where the Aztecs play.
I'm guessing it's around $300 million.
$500 million. $500 million.
Wow.
So, we every once in a while I'll still hear, well, I mean, if United keeps drawing people and they're going to get their new stadium and we're going to go MLS. No, you're not. I mean, until somebody steps it up with that money, and by the way, that club's owned by Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Mansour and a indigenous group, or an ethnic group indigenous to San Diego County. And Mansour, by the way, owns a Danish club as well as rights to a team in Ghana. He owns clubs all over the world. Like this is a different level.
You haven't noticed pro sports about the money, baby.
Yeah, man. That's why we've been talking about what should Caitlin Clark do all morning. What should she do? Should she go take the money and go to the big three for $5 million for a year? I'm just telling you, I would go do it for a year. Just take the $5 million. I still get my endorsements. I'm not going to become irrelevant and then go to the WNBA. I'm not. Dude. She won't be irrelevant. And by the way, if she hires a good PR firm, she'll be more relevant now than she ever was. She'll be pro. She'll be on commercials. You'll watch the big three. They'll push out big three content. A whole new world of people will watch her, like her, love her. I just don't see how she hurts herself.
The big three does not have money like WNBA.
Well, they're throwing $5 million at her, and the WNBA is throwing $250,000 at her.
The big three took PPP payouts, and they sold NFTs to raise funds.
Do you care where your money's coming from? Liv?
You have to sell NFTs to fund your league.
Again, I'm not making a
struggling.
long-term investment in it. I'm making an investment in me. Here, $5 million. You're giving me $5 million. I care if it came from a PPP or from Ice Cube's bank account or from him selling records or from Pepsi Cola. What do I care? I understand where you're coming from.
I'm looking at the career as a whole.
Yeah.
And if I'm Caitlin Clark and I have the stellar WNBA career, but the first year was spent in a league that's now defunct, that's just I don't think I want to do that. I want to push the women's game as far as I can because I have the power to do that. You know, what would the reason? What's the purpose of pushing big three?
Money.
She's got it though.
Does she though?
She does not have.
She's on national commercials, man. There's minimums you make for those.
All right. So how much is she making? And here's where I would say I don't know how much is enough, especially if you're 21 years old. Like how much is enough?
Caitlin Clark a multimillionaire right now?
I have no idea. I would assume multi, probably not, but I'm sure she's comfortable.
So
for a
1 year,
$21-year-old.
$5 million. Let me go make more endorsements. I'll go the WNBA. I'm going to cash in 1 year. I know $5 million doesn't sound like a lot, but at 21 years old, it's pretty much a lot. And in women's sports where you're capping out at, it's about endorsements. She's going to go do something that nobody has ever done before. Go play in a man's league, which it is a man's league, right? I mean, there's something to be a woman playing in a man's league. I guess Nancy Lieberman did it for a minute back in the day. And I think, is it Ann Myers, Don Drysdale's wife? Ann Myers played at UCLA, did it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, back in the 70s. But yeah, going to play in a man's league.
Now, a lot of this, too, is a smart idea from Ice Cube.
Yeah.
We're talking about the big three.
When have we
and
ever
taking
thought
away a potential star player from the WNBA for a year.
It is good marketing. There's a lot of truth in that. Even making the offer we're talking about it, so there's something to that.
So
everyone's playing their game.
Who's in the big three? Like, I mean, is it just former NBA guys that are washed up?
And international players.
All right. And it's they get together on one court in one city and they just play every week in the LA or wherever they play? They move it around? I guess they do move it around, right? It's kind of like a tour. It's like WWE kind of a thing. Hey, the big three's coming to your town this week. Right? And they play in a half court, and I don't even know what the format is. I got no problem with it. If she's, and flat out, she says, yeah, man. I like what the Big Three is doing, and Cube came to me, and it's about, it's money that I can't get somewhere else, and and it's something no other woman's been able to do. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm taking the money. I got no problem with it. What does she owe the WNBA?
When I look at this, it's not what she owes the WNBA. It's other women and pushing that sport and helping the girls in high school going to college.
And I would argue that she's showing that women can play with the men, play at a different level,
I think the whole playing with the men thing does not. It's half court former NBA guys. Like, I don't think that's showing them.
Really?
Yeah.
I would disagree, but okay.
Like, I don't need that validation for me to feel good about women's sports, because you can play with guys. I don't need that.
I think that's a stigma in a line that's never been crossed.
Yeah, but they're two different games.
But
I don't need
playing the same game.
Yeah, but I don't need that to feel good about women's sports. Me personally.
Okay.
Maybe some people out there are like, oh, you can play a half court game with a dude. Now I'm going to go watch women's basketball. Like, I think that's actually discrediting the work that the athletes are doing.
Yeah,
saying you have to go play with a man for us.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I'm going to take the other side. I see your side, but I'll disagree with you. But it's just, as far as a reason, not the reason, it's just another added reason. I mean, the reason's money. And I got no problem. Look, every guy that goes to live, we're like, yeah, dude, you're going for the money. We get it. You're going to live for the money. Oh, PPP money. Who cares, man? You're taking Saudi money over there.
And I think
I care how they're paying me.
And I think too, what kind of DC's getting at is, well, what are you doing for the game? I think what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have done is put women's athletics on the map of getting meaningful NIL money in college right now. So they have set a path for the next generation player. And the giant question is, can that path continue? Can there be a meaningful path after in the WNBA? Because there's never been a buzz like this for a player coming out of college.
Yeah. All right. Joseph says on the text line, 505-246-0610, the old mentality of loyalty to a company is no longer relevant with young people. Majority of them are show me the money and work-life balance. Big Three is a payday. Big Three is a payday. Yeah.
Show me a company that's ever cared about an employee. I'll show you few and far between.
I mean, honestly, loyalty to a company. When is the company supposed to be loyal to you? No doubt. This one is from Terry. Comparison. Holly Holm. If she had waited for a rematch with Ronda, would have made millions. Cost her a lot to fight earlier. Caitlin's first year salary will be approximately $70,000. And I don't know if there's a rookie slotted deal in the WNBA, and you're what I would look into more is what you're saying, DC. She's going to make way more in endorsements than she is playing WNBA. Period. Okay. Do those endorsements go away somehow if she goes to the Big Three for a year? That's really where I'd be looking. Because if the endorsements stay or increase, and I can go make $5 million for 1 year as opposed to $70,000 or $250,000, whatever it is, like, y'all can say whatever you want. I'm going to go make my $5 million and go play and set myself up. I'm not too proud to tell you. Yeah, it's about the money.
And I guess the position I'm taking is I'm looking at the long game, and I see WNBA. They have Nike, they have Pepsi, Microsoft, Google, YouTube. Right now, they're not making that much money. If you build it up properly, that $5 million won't mean anything. You're going to get other people paid in the long run. The wages will be higher. Doing this helps so many people. If she chooses to go WNBA, could potentially help so many people as the game progresses.
And I think the ultimate point in all this is her playing 1 year. If a Big Three basketball take away any of that potential.
Why would it? You going to tell me the WNBA wouldn't want her next year if she plays 1 year in the Big Three?
But next year maybe should be Angel Reese's year. And then you have another star you're introducing. And each year you've got bigger names that you're building up. And
Reese could come out right now.
She can come out right now. Oh. I don't know. I mean, has there been a bigger name than this? You're saying there's going to be bigger. She's going to somehow diminish herself. What? I mean, is there no way to increase her brand? So basically, you're saying she goes to the Big Three and disappears. is kind of what you're saying. And what Cube is banking on is she goes to the big three and puts them on the damn map, and
Saves
people are
the league.
watching.
Yeah.
That's why he's
It's the big
offered her
three.
$5 million. And now people are coming over to Big Three TV and watching him and giving a damn and showing her highlights. It's a gamble on both sides. To me, this is me again. I'm taking the $5 million because the WNBA is going to be there next year, and they're going to want me whenever I want to be there.
This is so fascinating because it does have such a live vibe to it, a live golf vibe to it.
Well, the one difference though is that PGA had money, and then Liv came up with more money. WNBA is kind of starting from scratch a little bit in terms of the big dollars.
Yes, just trying to see who's in the stand.
Well, I think I think there's a certain threshold in the WNBA, even if they continue to grow and if they do expand a little bit and all the partners that they have, there's certain contract threshold you're probably never going to be able to match.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also, I'm sure the WNBA sitting there this morning going, man, this is where we're at.
Right.
Like having to think about maybe the
Losing
most
our best
high-profile
player.
player to ever come out of college basketball.
Going to that?
And everyone's like, go play Big Three for a year? Oh,
going to that? All right, 505-246-06. What do you think? What would you do? Would you take the money or you go somewhere else? Got a bunch from you as well. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, DC on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Shot up good.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in
construction get home safe every day to their families. Indy Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sister.
He says reportedly Caitlin Clark is making $3.1 million
Good.
from NIL right now. Not the highest earning woman, by the way.
No.
But $3.1 million is pretty good money.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really good.
Good on you.
Now, is that those are all those 1 year NIL deals in college, all right? Will she make more when she doesn't have the Iowa and college platform when she goes to the WNBA? What's a more valuable platform, WNBA or Iowa? I'm going to argue Iowa. What's getting you more visibility?
Yeah, right now you're a record-setting college basketball player participating in March Madness, and there is a different buzz these days about the women's basketball tournament. Now, here's the thing. I ultimately think that she goes to the WNBA.
I do too.
I do think that there's a step because, she could sit there and say, I take $5 million and maybe I'm open up a different pathway. But then there is the fact that it really could set her back. If she goes out there and gets destroyed by Leandro Barbosa and Jarrett Jack for a year.
Yeah, it could be bad.
And
those guys could have their way with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Joe Johnson.
Yeah. Like Jared Jack, Joe Johnson.
JJ,
all the JJs.
Yeah. All of them.
JJ's playing in that league too.
So you made a really interesting comment that had me thinking, because you're right. The WNBA is in a weird spot that they even have to consider losing their top player. But that also presents an opportunity. And you look at NBA, WNBA, and you got to say, look, it's time to put up or shut up, Put some real money out there. Actually leverage your sponsors a little bit.
But how much do you lose? I mean, how much money do you put out to lose? You said 27 years? And from what I understand, the league's still not profitable?
I mean, I don't think profits were the first thing.
Obviously not. But at some point.
At some point, yeah.
I mean, do you say, how much do I want to lose? They're obviously okay eating however much they're eating. I don't know how much it is. You're going to go convince the owners, hey, let's put more in the WNBA because it's better for the women's game? And they're like, well, what about my bottom line?
And they'll say, if you do it right, 20 years from now, you will be very glad you made this decision.
And they're going to say, really? Look at the last 27-year track record.
And they're going to say, look at Amazon. They didn't make money for a while. And now they're doing just fine.
Yeah, you got arguments both ways. And you're going to have to convince all these owners to continue to lose money and more money.
You know who's could be a really big voice in all this?
Who's that? Mark Cuban?
No.
Steph Curry.
Mark Davis.
Oh, great point.
Yeah, that's good. That's really
trying to get people interested in the league investment. He's sitting courtside.
That's really good.
Championship WNBA basketball team.
After he goes to Bagel Mania for breakfast, about 2 PM, reads his newspaper. You think I'm kidding?
I know you're not. That's why. It's
no,
so
when I was at the tournament last year, I was over at Bagel Mania having breakfast at 2 PM, and he came in with his old school newspaper, sat in his own booth right there, and where he eats. So you got a great point. I agree with you. I think that's what she is going to do. I think she is going to go to the WNBA. I'm just saying, man.
Especially because you're right. She's probably sitting on a nice chunk of change for endorsement deals.
The other piece is, and you really did just bring something up that I don't want this to come across and sound the wrong way. JJ, can she play with those guys? I mean, she's a good basketball player. Can she go out and because your point is, if she goes out and gets clowned by Jared Jack and whoever these guys are, does that diminish her value? Yeah, you can't play with those. Well, yeah, you're right. I took the money and can't play with those, but watch me come out and hoop with the ladies. Does that?
We're talking.
Yeah, 6'10" dudes, man.
Drew Gooden, Ricky Davis.
Yeah, dudes who
we're not just
NBA.
guys that just got done playing in the NBA, haven't been playing in the NBA.
But their small guards are going to be 6'4". She's 6 feet tall. I mean, I want the money, but can she play? Would she destroy her brand? I think that's a fair question. All right, text line. DC's question about the big three. For 80s children, does anybody equate Reggie White, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Doug Williams, Bobby Hebert as USFL alumni? I didn't even realize Reggie White played in the USFL. It's not totally analogous, but somewhat analogous. So all those guys went and played in the USFL. I remember Steve Young got $1 million. Man, it was a lot of bleeping money to go play for the LA Express. $1 million. But you don't ever think that they played in the, do you think of Jim Kelly with the Houston Gamblers? Doug Williams with the Tampa Bay Bandits, I think they were, or something?
No.
It's somewhat analogous, but not totally.
Yeah, it's tough because football, you're wearing a mask. You got a 53-person team.
Yeah, but they went for the money. Those guys, the Steve Young was a big deal. Jim Kelly was a big deal. They went for the money. They did. And unapologetically. This one says, I think Caitlin Clark has $3 million in NIL money. Yeah, that's about right. This one says, I think this may be apples and oranges, but were many athletes who started in defunct leagues. Dr. J and George Gervin started in the ABA. Reggie White, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, Bobby Hebert started in the USFL. They got paydays and became stars. The only difference is this is a woman playing men's sports. And her payday would be jumping over to play against the men. And JJ, you brought up the risk, and I don't think that can be overlooked.
And even if she does well,
yeah,
you're not changing people. But like, oh, you went out there and you beat Brandon Rush, awesome.
You beat a bunch over the hill former NBA guys. Yeah, no, I'm listening.
Greg Oden.
Dude, Greg Oden's 7 feet tall.
Yeah. He's in the big three.
He was like the number 1 overall pick in the NBA.
Nate Robinson would be someone she would be
try to guard. I mean, that's the other piece. With all due respect, and I'm not trying to diminish anything. Can she play? Could she play?
I just think it's and to me, I get that it's different sports. They're different games. I don't need to see someone go play with the boys just to be like, well, now I care about women's sports.
But I think you're not in the absolute majority on that. Gopher says Michelle Clark equals Michelle Wee. We've heard all this before. We heard Michelle Wee was going to put women's golf on the map. She should go straight to the PGA and play against the Big Cat. When was the last time you watched an LPGA event? Not totally unanalogous. Yeah, she went out and tried to play with the men and didn't play well. Annika Storenstam played in a few men's events, right? I know she plays against the men now, that celebrity thing up at Tahoe. Which seems so not fair, by the way. Brian Urlacher, Marshall Faulk, and her. I mean, she's a pro golfer, for crying out loud.
Brian Urlacher. Golfing, that's interesting. I had not heard about that. That's interesting.
That event up in Reno? That July event? That celebrity golf event on NBC?
Interesting.
Hey, you never watched that?
No.
It's a great watch.
Is it really?
Oh, Steph Curry. Did Steph Curry win it this year?
You're right. I have
Curry had the hole-in-one this year.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a great watch. All right, 505-246-0610. We'll wrap this up for everything you got to know as you go through your Tuesday. If you want to get in on this, it's an interesting conversation. Really, really. I mean, you almost got to have me start. You know why you have me swaying your way? Because you almost got me convinced that she damaged her brand more than help it by going out there and just not being competitive against those men, against former NBA guys. Just size wise, dude, she's 6 feet and not thick, and that's where you're starting to sway me. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp.
I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Meyer here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Sports Animal. All right, I think you guys got me swayed a little bit that WNBA might be the way to go. Although, I'm trying to picture her playing against these grown ass men. I don't care if they're 35, 40-year-old men. They're former NBA players. Size wise, how does she compete in the W? Yeah, she'll hit some 4-pointers. Right, they have 4-pointers that week, right?
Yes, they do.
All right, so she'll hit some 4-pointers But Stigler just made a really good point off the air. Scott Stigler, the former, Stigatron, the American Stiglo, Stiglenfreud.
The tacky. Stigalicious.
So
Stick it, Iggy.
let's say she goes to the big three and she gets dominated. And she makes $5 million. Think the WNBA is not going to want her after that? Of course they are.
Yeah, but that doesn't help the WNBA.
That's correct. So I guess what's the goal here? Is it to help the WNBA or your Caitlin Clark? Is it to help you? What's your goal? Do I owe it to the WNBA to help women's basketball in the WNBA, or do I owe it to Caitlin Clark and my family to do the best for my family?
And there's also, all right, you have $5 million, but if you go out there and get punked for a year,
it's miserable.
By not guys that played in the NBA last year.
Yeah, dude, she's not going to the big three. She's not. This was a good conversation. Like it was. It was fun. She's not. By the way, it's a different ball. She's kind of got to relearn how to shoot because it's honestly, if you've been shooting the same weighted basketball and you add a few ounces, and I know, Jeff, that's a few ounces. Go out. Like honestly, go out today. Go find a women's ball and a men's ball. Go shoot the two. You will notice the difference as you handle it and you shoot it.
Well, also muscle memories. I mean, if you've been shooting the same ball for your entire career,
that's my argument about raising the rims.
Yeah.
Right? That's why when you saw the 3-point line at the women's thing, the women's tournament in Portland was 9 inches in, and the shooting percentage on that side of the court was, 3% less? Muscle memory, right? They're standing right at a certain spot that they think on the court. And yes, all that's right. So while I don't hate the idea of her taking the $5 million, the actuality of her going out and playing in that league. Now you may say, Jeff, nobody's going to watch it. Nobody gives a damn. How many people are going to know that she got clowned by Joe Johnson and Joe who's in that league? Joe Jack, who? Grown ass men. Well, they'd expect her. She's a 6-foot woman who is skilled, but physically. We had this conversation a million times. I mean, are we in concurrence? Men have a physical advantage over women. We accept that, right?
Yeah. But different games.
Here's the other thing to think about. Players in the Big Three average around $100,000 a year. Someone might not be all that happy that she's making $5.
So she can get hurt?
I'm hoping she wouldn't be targeted, but I guarantee those conversations take place with the other players.
With all due respect, you can't name me one dude, let alone 3 in that whole damn league. And she would be more recognizable than everybody that league's ever had. But to your point, yes, Joe Jack, why do I keep going there? Give me a few more names now. Are going to be pissed. Ooh. Greg Odom.
Dante Green. Jason Richardson.
I mean,
didn't you say Brandon Rush?
Brandon Rush.
Oh, Cliff Killa.
Mario Chalmers.
Mario Chalmers, former Kansas star.
Oh man, Shady is awesome.
Right?
There would be one thing that I could see that could really, really create some momentum. And honestly, Nike has had a huge impact in basketball. 1984, they signed the deal with Jordan. We see what happens with that. What if they gave her a shoe?
Okay.
I mean, that could be really impactful.
I think it'd be great. And I think that's probably in the making, to be honest with you. I think she's going to play in the WNBA, guys. I just, the whole Big Three thing is cute. I think when it gets down to her and her start thinking, what do I want to do? Like at some point too, I think you want to have fun. And I think you guys are right. I think she's going to make enough in endorsements that she'll be plenty comfortable. She's got $3.1 million this year. I think she's going to be okay. And when you start thinking around, all right, what am I doing? I'm playing against a 6'10" dude. How's she supposed to, with all due respect, who's guarding her? 6'4", 240-pound guard, right? That's who's guarding her?
Yeah, man, that's not a good look.
I'm just going to guess how much fun does that sound?
Well, and think about this. You are the only woman in the league. Like, when you're on the road, you hanging out by yourself, you hanging with the boys, it could be an awkward dynamic.
I'm going to guess. All right, here's what you got to know as you go through your day.
Here's what we get, though, Jeff.
Yeah.
There's all this talk, Clayton Clark, Big Three. There's a Final Four this week.
Yep, and it's going to be...
Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark. North Carolina State, South Carolina. Let's go.
Paige Becker scored 28 points, 10 rebounds to lead UConn over USC 80-73 in the women's quarterfinal yesterday. Juju Watkins, 29-10 for SC. Juju Watkins passes former San Diego State star Tina Hutchinson for the all-time freshman scoring record in NCAA women's basketball. Juju becomes the first woman to score over 900 points in a season as a freshman. In the early game, Iowa beat LSU 94-87. Caitlin Clark, 41 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds. Angel Reese had 17 points and 20 rebounds for the Tigers. It's a rematch of last year's final that went LSU's way. So it'll be Iowa and UConn moving on, and it will be North Carolina State and South Carolina on the other side of the women's Final Four. There was a no-hitter in the big leagues last night. Ronel Blanco threw a no-hitter for the Astros. He is 30 years old, just made the opening day roster for the first time in his career. He throws a no-hitter. Astros beat the Blue Jays by a score of 10-0. And the Chiefs have a backup quarterback, or at least it looks like they're close to. His name is Carson Wentz. I think it's a good move for them. Was Andy Reid still in Philly when Carson Wentz was there? He was not, right? He was long gone. That was Nick Sirianni. Yeah. All right,
Doug Peterson.
It was Doug Peterson. That's right, before Nick Sirianni. Doug Peterson, and they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. All right, what do I got tonight, man? I got NIT tonight. Utah and Indiana State in one semifinal. This is the men's side.
Kareem Abdul.
That's Cream. Yeah. Kareem Abdul. You haven't seen this big dude?
That's awesome. I'm about to.
Georgia and Seton Hall, the other semifinal of the NIT. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On is here at 4. Then you get Isotopes Baseball. They're in Oklahoma City. Thank you to Richard Pitino. He was with us. If you want to hear that conversation, really good conversation with the Lobo men's basketball coach, go to our website, sportsanimalabq.com. Click on the opening drive, and it is all right there for you. DC, great work.
How wild is it? UConn and NC State have teams on both men's and women's
Quite
side.
wild.
So wild.
Yeah, quite. Big day for you?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Adrian, great job over on the TV side. Be good to each other, boys and girls. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing, and we'll smell you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.